Hey guys, it's Miss Hernandez, and it is Monday, and it is also Memorial Day. So if you know anyone who is in the service or were in the service for any of the branches for the military, tell them thank you for their service. It's a great sacrifice that they're doing, especially if they're active duty. So if you know anyone or you meet anybody in the street, no, you shouldn't be in the streets right now, but if you meet anybody and you know that they're in the service, just tell them thank you. I have a few family members who are in the service. My grandfather was in, I believe, the Army. He fought in World War II. My brother is in the Army as well, and he's just reserves right now, but eventually he will be going active duty. So if you know anyone in the service, just tell them thank you and let them know you have some appreciation for them. So we are still going to be reading The Search for the Phoenix Gem and In-Questigation. But because it's Memorial Day and I'm going to be babysitting soon, I'm just going to read one chapter today. I know that's like sad, but I'll make up for it by making a video for tomorrow. I think that would be a good idea, so I can make up the chapters we missed today and we can still keep up with the videos, how many videos I'm making. Alright, so we're just going to be reading chapter 17 today. That's the only chapter we're reading. So this is going to be a really short video, guys. So let me just kind of recap what we've seen so far. Sedalia is doing her investigation still. She has gone through the path of peril, and she decided to go back when she realized that it was too perilous, not really beneficial for her in terms of her safety. So she decided to go home. As she's going home, she goes to a diner and she realizes her parents were calling her nonstop. They left her a bunch of messages and calls, so she is in trouble. She got grounded. Her parents are happy that she's safe, but they're still, angry with her for being gone for so long without saying anything. Because she came back, I believe, around midnight. So she's grounded. But she wakes up at about 3 in the morning, and she decides she needs to finish this story. She doesn't care what kind of trouble she gets in anymore. She's going to finish this story because it is due today. Like the time that she's doing this, it is due that same day, but later on. So she has a few hours left. She really, really wants to get it done. So she's just going to go out and finish the story. She's not going to say sorry or anything. She knows she's going to be in trouble, but she will go the extra mile to get the story done. So I'm very excited to see what she does. I'm going to let my dog in real quick, guys. Hold up. Alright, guys. Let's just go ahead and get started at 3 minutes, it looks like. Alright, so chapter 17, once again. Let's see what happens. So Dahlia wished her scooter was working so she wouldn't have to walk. At least she could have quietly pushed the scooter down the block, away from the house, and then started it up. But that wasn't an option. And the minivan was out of the question. There was no way she could take that. Not without her parents' permission, which she would never get because she wasn't supposed to leave the house. That left her own 2 legs. So she walked down the street in the early mornings heading for the fountain. Early morning hours heading for the fountain. She realized she had never walked around her neighborhood at this time. Everything was so peaceful and serene. If she hadn't known better, she never would have guessed that a dragon had attacked the town only 2 days before. As Sedalia approached the town square, she had no idea what she was looking for. Maybe something about the fountain, the history of it, would trigger some further investigation. Having grown up in New Mushroomton, Sedalia knew she'd been through the town square countless times, but she'd never really paid attention to the fountain aside from tossing coins into it to make wishes. She looked at the town square now and saw debris everywhere from the dragon battle. There was construction equipment all around, but it was otherwise deserted. Sedalia stood up on the edge of the fountain in order to get a closer look. The fountain was topped with a spire, and there was something at the top of the spire. A sculpture that looked kind of like an eyelid. It was open. She climbed up to the top so she could peer into the chamber. The space wasn't very big, but it looked as though it had once held something. There was dust around the edges except for the middle, where an object must have been resting. "Hey," came a bored-sounding voice from below. It completely startled Sedalia, who had been lost in thought. She nearly lost her balance, but grabbed on to the spire. Oh, hello, she said, looking down at an elf construction worker. She was wearing a hard hat and looked at Sedalia with suspicion. Lovely morning. I suppose, the construction worker said. There were 3 other construction workers walking over, and they all sat down around the edge of the fountain. You're probably wondering what I'm doing up here, Sedalia said nervously. No, the construction worker replied. We're on break. But Sedalia pressed on. I'm a reporter for the Fortnightly Dragon. I'm doing a story, and I wanted to ask you a few questions. Come back when we're not on break. Which is when? Sedalia asked, becoming more and more desperate. I'm on deadline. This story goes to press in a few hours. That's too bad, the construction worker shrugged. That's when we go back to work. Then what are you doing out here now? Sedalia asked, not understanding her. Look, the construction worker said. She moved over on the edge of the fountain and patted a spot next to her. You seem like a good kid. If we keep this short, we can have a chat. Take a seat. Sedalia smiled and climbed off the fountain. Then she sat down next to the construction worker. Now we're getting somewhere, Sedalia thought. She took out her notepad and pencil, ready to write everything down. The construction worker smiled and extended her right hand. Name's Shorky. It's short for short calf, which isn't really much longer. Nice to meet you, Shorky, Sedalia said. I thought I could maybe talk to you about some stuff. What kind of stuff you want to talk about? Shorky asked, shifting her weight. Well, do you remember the dragon from the other day? Shorky nodded. You mean the only dragon from the other day? Yeah, I remember it. Why do you think there are so many of us working the graveyard shift? The cleanup for this is unbelievable. What about it? I'm just wondering if you saw anything in the moments that led up to the appearance of the dragon. You were working in the area then, right? Yeah, we were working, unlike now, Shorky said, chuckling. Anyway, there was nothing really unusual about the afternoon. It was pretty uneventful. We got hired to tear this fountain down, and someone decided to make it difficult. Who was it? Sedalia asked. Without skipping a beat, Shorky said, it was Quest Guy. Quest Guy? Sedalia asked as she wrote it down on her notepad. Yeah, Quest Guy. He was always messing stuff up for us with his antics. I hate antics, Shorky said, grumbling. Quest Guy, Sedalia thought. That's got to be Barley. So this Quest Guy, what did he do that made life so difficult for you and your crew? Sedalia asked. Well, you must have noticed that I used the past tense when I said he was always messing stuff up. You mean you did notice, right? Well, with you being a reporter and all? Sedalia scribbled on her notepad. Oh, of course, yes, totally noticed. Anyway, the construction worker continued. We used to think he was just a big goofball, but it turns out that he knew exactly what he was talking about the whole time. So what did he do? Sedalia said, dying to know. You want to know what he did? I assume you do, which is why you asked in the first place. What he did was, he climbed to the top of the fountain. Something about a kind of magic gem or something. Always talking about the old days, that history buff, added one of the other construction workers, a lanky cyclops who proceeded to shove half a sandwich in his mouth. Yeah, and to think we called the cops on him, Shorky continued. At the time, we just thought, this guy is always keeping us from our breaks. And our work, said the cyclops, with his mouth stuffed full of sandwich. Just the other day, for example, Shorky said, Quest Guy was there. Tried to prevent us from tearing the fountain down to make way for condos. Said something about the place having a historical value. Actually, said a troll construction worker, he said, I won't let you tear it down. Ancient warriors on grand quests drank from this very fountain. Shorky shot him a look. Do I interrupt you when you're telling a story? No, but that's because you never let me tell a story, the troll replied. Yeah, I saw the video online, Sedalia interrupted. These cops, do you remember their names? Yeah, it was Gore and Spectre, Shorky said. Suddenly, Sedalia remembered seeing police activity near the fountain right before the Curse destroyed the high school. She had completely forgot about it, since everything had unfolded so quickly. This must have been the piece of information that Gore and Spectre hadn't wanted her to know. Wait, so getting back to the moment when Barley was climbing the fountain that night, Sedalia said. Well, he did something to the fountain, and he pulled out a glowing rock out of it. Shorky said. We were all surprised. I mean, he had been right all along. The fountain did have historical value. There was a gem inside it after all. Tell her about the red smoke, the Cyclops said, brushing sandwich crumbs from his shirt and mouth. Oh, that, Shorky said. almost like it was an afterthought. Apparently, whatever Quest guy did when he got this gem, his gem also unleashed a curse on our fair city. That must be part of the historical value. A curse, Sedalia said, remembering what Shrub had told her before. A genuine, bona fide, 100% grade A curse, Shorky said. I know this because that's what Quest guy called it. And he seemed to know all about this kind of stuff. He's smart, that Quest guy. Sedalia was writing even faster now. So this curse, it was like a big red cloud. It just started pouring out of the fountain like one of those, what do you call them? Shorky said, turning to look at her fellow construction workers, snapping her fingers rapidly in succession. Geyser, said the troll. Geysers are water, Shorky grunted. This wasn't no water. A blast? Offered the Cyclops. Meh, Shorky shrugged. The Cyclops opened his mouth as if to say something, only to shove the other half of the sandwich inside. Anyway, red smoke came out of the fountain, Shorky said, dismissing the destructing workers with her hand. The red smoke. Did you see what happened to it? Sedalia asked. She knew that it had been the same red smoke that she had seen at the school, the smoke that somehow transformed the entire building into a dragon. Yeah, Shorky said. It went that way, and she pointed toward the high school. Then what happened? Sedalia asked. The red smoke. It goes all over the high school, see? Shorky said, wrapping it up like a birthday present. And the next thing I knew, poof! Poof, Sedalia said, writing it down. Yeah, poof! The school was a dragon. Now it was all beginning to make sense. The gem hidden inside the fountain was the Phoenix Gem. Ian and Barley's quest must have led them from the path of peril back to the fountain and to the hidden chamber atop the spire. Barley climbed the spire to get the Phoenix Gem, but in doing so he accidentally unleashed a curse, which transformed the school into the dragon. Sedalia hadn't been in the town square when the curse was broken, so she hadn't seen what Shorky was describing, but she had been outside the high school and had witnessed the curse creating the dragon. Can you remember anything else, Shorky? Sedalia said, standing up from her seat at the edge of the fountain. Nah, Shorky replied. Just the school turning into a dragon. Darndest thing I'd ever seen. Hey guys, wasn't that the darndest thing you ever saw? Shorky said, slapping the arm of the Cyclops construction worker. They all nodded and murmured in agreement that it was indeed the darndest thing that any of them had ever seen. And now, wouldn't you know it, it turns out the town is going to save the fountain. It's going to be a historical landmark. Quest Guy did it, Shorky said, shaking her head. So you're not going to tear it down? Sedalia asked. No, I don't think we can get away with that, Shorky said, which is a shame on account of I really like tearing stuff down. Ironic, considering our job is construction. Thanks for all your help, Sedalia said, extending her hand. Shorky took it. Pleasure was mine, kid. Good luck with your story. Guys, that was the end of chapter... I'm trying to keep 18 out. That was the end of chapter 17. Wow. Oh, it's so sad this one's really short, but I got stuff to do. Alright, so it's pretty interesting to see that event happen from a construction worker's point of view, because they were there when Barley took out the Phoenix Gem. From what I remember in Onward, what we saw was Ian running towards Barley, because Barley found the gem, and then that's when the smoke came out, and Barley instantly knew what it was. He knew it was a curse automatically when the smoke came out. So what we saw was just after that, Barley, I think he gets thrown, but I'm not sure, but he kind of like gets off and goes to Ian. But they do, like, kind of get separated because of the dragon, and, like, they see the dragon happening. But it's pretty interesting to kind of see those points of view of that event happening, because we only saw it from Ian and Barley's point of view. So just this entire book in general, giving us a different perspective, is really amazing. I know I said that every video, but I really want to emphasize how interesting it is to see events from different perspectives, because it does kind of show you the event in a new light. It shows you things you probably didn't think about, and like it probably helps you remember stuff that you wouldn't have remembered. Like they did say that the officers and the construction workers were there when Barley was at the fountain, but when you look back at the book, you don't remember them being there. You just think about how Barley and Ian unleashed the curse and they had to fight the dragon. You forget about all those other people that were actually there at the time. So it's really interesting to have a book that shows us that part of the story we would have forgotten. Alright guys, so like I said, I will come back and I will read chapters 18 and 19 for tomorrow. And then we will go on to a regular schedule for Wednesday, having the 3 chapters. And I believe we still have enough left over to have some for Friday. We shall see. I'll let you guys know when we do it on Wednesday. But for now, just keep an eye out for the video coming out tomorrow. And I will see y'all tomorrow. I hope y'all have a great rest of the day. Remember, thank a veteran or thank a person currently in service for their service. And show them your appreciation however you can. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.